Imagine, you're holding a simple penny. Just 1 cent. You toss it in a jar, forget about it, and go about your day. But what if I told you that same penny, a 2022 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, could secretly be worth over $6.8 million? Now, before you think asterisk, oh, come on, it's just a penny. Asterisk, let me ask you, how many times have you walked past coins on the ground, thinking they had no value? Maybe the real question is, asterisk, how many fortunes have you already walked past? Asterisk, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why collectors are paying life-changing money for this coin, how to identify it, and why missing out could cost you not just thousands, but millions. Quick reset, and hey, if you're like me, you're probably wondering, why is it always the penny that changes people's lives? Why can't it be the $20 bill I leave in the laundry? The Lincoln penny has been with us since 1909, a small copper coin that carries a big piece of America's history. But in 2022, something unexpected happened. Pennies without a mint mark slipped into circulation. At first glance, they look ordinary. But here's where things get exciting. Some of these coins turned out to be extraordinary minting anomalies, and collectors are willing to pay a staggering price for them. Why? Because rarity drives value. Scarcity fuels demand. And when demand collides with history, fortunes are made. Think of it this way: one person's pocket change becomes another person's million-dollar ticket. And that's exactly what happened when a 2022 no-mint mark penny sold for $6.8 million at auction. Now, here's the cliffhanger. Not every 2022 penny is valuable. Only a select few carry the traits that make them priceless. In just a moment, I'll reveal the exact features you should look for. But let me ask you this: if you had the chance to hold a fortune in the palm of your hand, would you even recognize it? The resolution, urgency, inspiration, and wealth mindset, asterisk asterisk. So, how do you know if your 2022 penny is worth millions? Pay attention to these details. Sharp strike and flawless details, asterisk asterisk. Signs it may have been part of an experimental or rare production batch. Pristine condition, asterisk asterisk. The fewer scratches and blemishes, the higher the potential value. If you find one that matches these traits, you could be sitting on a hidden fortune. But here's the urgency. These coins are quietly disappearing into private collections, never to return to circulation. Every day that passes is a day someone else cashes in, while your coin, if you have it, sits forgotten in a drawer. And let's be honest, most people won't even bother to look. But you're not. Most people. You're here, learning, preparing, ready to seize an opportunity others ignore. Think about it. The difference between an ordinary life and a wealthy lifestyle can be as small as one overlooked penny. 1 cent, transformed into $6.8 million. Now, here's my final cliffhanger for you. If the 2022 no-mint mark penny is already commanding millions, what do you think will happen in 10 years when its rarity becomes even greater? Will today's $6.8 million coin become tomorrow's $10 million coin? That's the kind of question only the future, and maybe your coin jar, can answer. Opening with dramatic music and an urgent, authoritative tone, imagine finding a penny so rare, so valuable, that it could change your entire financial future. What if I told you that a simple 2000 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, could be worth up to $6.9 million today? Yes, you heard that right. A single cent coin that most people overlook could buy you a luxury home, a dream car, or even set you up for retirement. Now, let me ask you, how many times have you checked the pennies lying around in your drawer, your wallet, or that old jar in the kitchen? Be honest, probably never, right? But after watching this video, I guarantee you'll start looking at every coin differently. Pause. Pattern interrupt, light humor. And no, before you ask, this isn't Monopoly money or some late-night infomercial trick. This is real, documented, and serious. But why is this particular penny so valuable? And more importantly, how do you know if the one sitting in your pocket could be the golden ticket? Stick with me, because by the end, you'll not only understand the history behind this coin, You'll know exactly what signs to look for that could mean the difference between a single cent and a millionaire's lifestyle. Let's rewind for a moment. The year is 2000. The US Mint produced billions of pennies, most of them ordinary, everyday coins. But here's the twist: some pennies slipped through with no mint mark at all. To the untrained eye, they looked completely normal. But in the world of numismatics, that's the fancy word for coin collecting, this tiny error transformed them into treasures. Collectors crave rarity. And when demand collides with scarcity, the price skyrockets. That's exactly what happened here. Now, I can almost hear you thinking, asterisk. Come on, how does a penny jump to $6.9 million? Asterisk, well, think about this. People have paid millions for paintings, cars, or even baseball cards. But coins? They carry history, mystery, and money all in one tiny package. This 2000 no mint mark penny is a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And here's the fear factor: you may have had one in your hands already. Maybe you spent it at the grocery store last week. Maybe it's sitting in your old coin jar right now. Once it's gone, it's gone. Pattern interrupt, reset attention. Now imagine explaining to your kids one day, yeah, I had a coin worth $6.9 million, but I spent it on a pack of gum. Ouch. That story doesn't end well. This is why collectors hunt obsessively. Because finding one of these pennies is like winning the lottery, except you don't need luck, you just need knowledge. So here's what you do. Go through your coins carefully. Look for Lincoln pennies dated 2000. Flip them over. If there's no mint mark under the year, you may have struck gold, or rather copper. But here's the cliffhanger: most people stop at just finding the coin. The real key lies in condition. A penny in average circulation might fetch thousands, but in pristine, untouched condition? That's where the multi-million-dollar valuations explode. Imagine pulling out a coin so flawless, collectors line up to bid against each other, and you're the one holding the winning card. Now, let me ask you, if you had a coin that could transform your life, would you recognize it? Or would you let it slip away unnoticed? The choice is yours. If you want to uncover more hidden treasures in your own pocket change, subscribe right now, because in the next video, I'm revealing another, ordinary, coin that's turning everyday Americans into millionaires overnight. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Your financial freedom could be hiding in plain sight, inside the change you already own. So check your coins, because 1 cent could be worth $6.9 million. And that, my friends, is the power of knowledge. 1995 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth $6.8 million. Imagine reaching into an old coffee jar, pulling out a dusty penny, and realizing it could buy you a luxury home, a brand new car, and still leave enough cash for a vacation in the Caribbean. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? Well, it's not. Because today, we're talking about the 1995 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that looks so ordinary, yet its current market value is a jaw-dropping $6.8 million. But here's the thing: most people throw these coins away without even looking. And that, my friends, is the difference between staying broke and stumbling into life-changing wealth. Let me ask you this: when was the last time you checked the pennies hiding in your pocket change? If your answer is never, you might want to stay tuned. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why one of these humble pennies could transform your life. The story, history, value, and emotional build-up. Now, let's rewind the clock to 1995. Bill Clinton was president, gas was just over $1 a gallon, and the Lincoln penny was being minted in massive quantities. But here's the twist: some of these pennies left the US Mint without a mint mark. No tiny D for Denver, no P for Philadelphia. Just Lincoln's face, standing alone. At first glance, you might dismiss it. After all, how valuable can a penny be? But the absence of that mint mark created a rarity so powerful that collectors today are willing to spend millions just to own one pristine example. And this is where fear comes in. What if you already had one of these pennies, but spent it at the grocery store years ago? Think about it: a $6.8 million mistake, gone with a carton of milk. Painful, isn't it? But don't worry, here's the exciting part. These coins are still out there, sitting in jars, drawers, and tucked away in the wallets of people who have no idea what they're holding. And that's where the opportunity lies, for you. Quick side note, isn't it funny how we complain about pennies being useless? Can't even buy a stick of gum with them! Yet here we are, talking about one that could buy you the entire gum factory. Now let's connect this to what really matters, freedom. For many in their 40s, 50s, or 60s, financial security is the dream. You've worked hard. You've sacrificed. And finding one of these pennies could be the shortcut to the wealthy lifestyle you deserve. The resolution, call to action, and cliffhanger, ***. So, what should you do right now? Simple. Go through your old coins. Check those jars, those drawers, even that old cigar box in the attic. If you find a 1995 Lincoln penny without a mint mark, you could be holding a ticket worth millions. But here's the kicker: condition matters. Coins in pristine, uncirculated condition are where the real money lies. That's why some collectors are willing to pay $6.8 million or more to secure one. And here's the cliffhanger: this isn't the only penny hiding unimaginable value. In fact, there are other coins, some even newer than you'd expect, that could be sitting in your change right now, waiting to be discovered. So if you're serious about turning your pocket change into life-changing wealth, make sure you don't miss my next video, where I'll reveal another Lincoln penny that's shocking collectors with its $1 million price tag. Until then, remember, the path to wealth isn't always about Wall Street, real estate, or risky investments. Sometimes it starts with something as small as a penny. Have you ever emptied your pocket change, glanced at a penny, and thought, it's just 1 cent, worthless, right? Well, what if I told you one of those ordinary-looking 1989 Lincoln pennies without a mint mark has sold for a jaw-dropping $6.7 million? Yes, you heard me right. $6.7 million. For a coin that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the sidewalk. Now, before you laugh and say, oh come on, a penny? Really? Stay with me. Because in the next few minutes, you'll discover how a simple mistake at the US Mint transformed an everyday coin into a life-changing fortune. And who knows, you might already have one hiding in a jar, a drawer, or even at the bottom of your car's cup holder. So here's the big question: what if the key to financial freedom has been sitting right under your nose this whole time? Let's step back for a moment. The year is 1989. The Berlin Wall is falling, gas costs just over $1, and here in the United States the mint is striking millions of Lincoln pennies. But here's where things get interesting. Some of these pennies left the presses without a mint mark, that tiny letter, usually a PD or S, stamped beneath the date. Most collectors dismiss these coins as common, but certain 1989 no-mint mark pennies are anything but ordinary. Why? Because of a perfect storm, a rare minting error, pristine condition, and collectors willing to pay astronomical sums. In fact, one specimen graded in near-perfect condition recently stunned the coin-collecting world when it sold for $6.7 million at auction. That's not a typo. $6.7 million. Enough to retire early, buy that dream home, or finally take that around-the-world trip you've been putting off. But here's the kicker. How do you know if your penny is one of these rare treasures? Well, don't run off to grab your coin jar just yet, because before you start selling pennies on eBay for a fortune, there are a few crucial details you need to understand. First, condition is everything. Only coins in the highest grades, free of scratches, spots, or wear, can command multi-million-dollar values. Even a tiny blemish can mean the difference between a coin worth millions and one worth just a few cents. Second, authentication. If you believe you might have one of these elusive 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies, don't take chances. Get it verified by a professional grading service. Remember, serious collectors only pay serious money when they're confident the coin is genuine. And third, timing. Rare coins like this don't just hold value, they grow in value year after year. But markets shift, and opportunities don't last forever. The clock is always ticking, and the window to cash in at peak value can close without warning. Now, here's something to think about. How many times have you brushed aside an old penny, never realizing it could be the very key to the wealthy lifestyle you've always dreamed of? That's the fear factor, the thought that you might already own a fortune but let it slip through your fingers. So the next time you spot a 1989 penny in your change, take a closer look. That tiny coin could be your golden ticket, your chance to join the small circle of people who turn pocket change into a life-changing fortune. And I'll leave you with this question. If one penny could be worth $6.7 million, what other treasures might be hiding in plain sight? Stay curious, stay alert, and who knows, your next step into financial freedom might just be resting in the palm of your hand. Imagine this. You're digging through an old jar of pennies, maybe tucked away in the garage or hidden in the back of a drawer. Most people would see a handful of copper-colored coins and think, asterisk, nothing but spare change. Asterisk, but what if I told you, one of those plain, ordinary-looking 1989 Lincoln pennies without a mint mark could be worth more than your house, your car, and your retirement account combined? Yes, you heard that right. A single penny from 1989, with no mint mark, is currently valued at an astonishing $6.1 million. Now, pause for a moment. Think about that. A coin you could have spent on bubblegum back in the day might just be your golden ticket to financial freedom. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, stay with me, because in the next few minutes I'm going to show you why this penny is so valuable, how to identify it, and why you can't afford to ignore what's sitting in your coin jar. Oh, and by the way, if you're about to throw away old pennies, stop. You might as well be throwing away a luxury vacation in Hawaii, or better yet, your dream retirement. Let's rewind to 1989. The Lincoln cent had been around for decades, but that year, something unusual happened. Some coins left the mint without a mint mark. For collectors, that tiny missing detail turned an ordinary penny into an extraordinary rarity. Now, here's where it gets exciting, and a little nerve-wracking. The US produced millions of pennies that year, but only a select few slipped through in this rare condition. That means the odds of having one are slim, but not impossible. Think about it, your loose change, that forgotten roll of pennies from your parents' attic, or even the dusty coin collection you inherited but never checked. One of them could hold this million-dollar treasure. And here's the kicker. People are actually finding these. Just last year, a collector sold a verified no-mint mark 1989 Lincoln penny for millions. That's life-changing money. Imagine paying off your mortgage, buying your dream home, and securing your retirement, all from a single coin. But wait, let me interrupt myself for a second. Isn't it kind of hilarious that we stress over gas prices going up by 20 cents, when the right 1-cent coin could buy you a yacht? Funny how perspective changes when you know the truth. Here's what you need to do right now. Go through your coins. Check every 1989 penny. Look for the missing mint mark. If you see one, don't spend it, don't toss it, and definitely don't clean it with soap and water. That could destroy its value. Instead, get it professionally appraised. And let me leave you with this thought. Every day, people unknowingly spend rare coins at grocery stores, gas stations, or vending machines. Someone might have already handed you one in change, and you never even looked. Terrifying, isn't it? The idea that you could be holding millions in your hand and just give it away for a candy bar. So ask yourself, are you sitting on life-changing wealth without even knowing it? In my next video, I'll reveal another US coin from the 1980s that looks totally ordinary, but is now selling for even more than this 1989 penny. Trust me, you don't want to miss that. Because the difference between financial struggle and financial freedom might just be hiding in your pocket. So before you spend another penny, make sure it's not worth a fortune. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and join me as we uncover the hidden treasures of American coins, one story at a time. Imagine checking your pocket change and realizing that the 1-cent coin you almost gave away at the grocery store could actually be worth a staggering $6.6 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? But stay with me, because today, we're talking about the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that has changed ordinary lives overnight. Pause, insert a pattern interrupt with humor. And before you say, oh come on, it's just a penny. Remember, people laughed at Bitcoin too, when it was worth a nickel. Transition, building suspense. This coin isn't just metal. It's history, mystery, and money. Asterisk, a life-changing fortune hidden in plain sight. Asterisk, so how do you know if that dull penny in your old coin jar is actually your golden ticket to financial freedom? Let's find out. In 1982, the U.S. Mint made a historic transition. They moved from producing pennies made of nearly solid copper to pennies made of zinc with a thin copper coating. This shift created multiple variations of the 1982 penny: large date, small date, copper, zinc, with mint marks and without. And among them, the no mint mark Lincoln penny became the rare treasure that has stunned collectors for decades. SA coins aside, unaware of their true value. They spend them, lose them, or worse, give them away at a garage sale. And yet, a pristine example of this exact penny has been valued at an eye-popping $6.6 million. That's not just loose change, that's life-changing wealth. Think about it. One single coin could replace decades of hard work, bills, and financial stress. Pattern interrupt, rhetorical question with humor. So let me ask you, how many times have you bent down to pick up a penny off the ground? Now imagine if the one you ignored could have paid for your dream house in cash. Still leaving pennies in parking lots? But wait, the real question is, how do you know if the penny in your hand is the $1 million one? Because not every 1982 penny will make you rich. The difference is subtle, but crucial. Here's what you need to check. First, look closely at the date. 1982. If there's no mint mark under the date, you've cleared the first hurdle. Next, you'll need to determine the metal. Copper pennies weigh 3.11 grams, while the zinc versions weigh only 2.5 grams. A simple digital scale can tell you instantly which you're holding. Finally, examine the size of the date, because both small date and large date variations exist, and some are far rarer than others. Think about it. You could be holding a coin that transforms your retirement, pays off your mortgage, or funds the lifestyle you've always dreamed of. Not tomorrow, not someday, asterisk today, asterisk, but only if you check your change, dig through those old jars, and stop underestimating the pen. And here's the twist. 1982 isn't the only year hiding $1 million surprises. There are other Lincoln pennies sitting quietly in collections, drawers, and piggy banks right now, worth fortunes that most people overlook. So don't let your wealth slip through your fingers. Check your coins, check them twice, and if you discover a 1982 no mint mark Lincoln penny, especially in pristine condition, you may be staring at a fortune worth $6.6 million. If you want to know the other rare pennies that could turn your spare change into a wealthy lifestyle, make sure you subscribe and watch my next video, because your financial freedom could be one coin away. Remember, fortunes don't always come in gold bars. Sometimes, they're hiding in the pennies we've overlooked our entire lives. Imagine walking into your garage, opening an old jar of coins, and discovering that one simple penny, yes, a coin you've probably ignored for decades, could transform your financial life overnight. Now, imagine that penny being worth not just a few hundred, not just a few thousand, but an astonishing $6.4 million. Sounds impossible, right? Well, that's the story of the 1981 Lincoln 1-cent coin with no mint mark, a coin that's quietly turning ordinary Americans into millionaires. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever thrown pennies into a drawer thinking they were worthless? If you have, you might want to check again. Because one of those tiny copper pieces could hold the key to a wealthy, stress-free retirement. Humorous reset. And let's be honest, wouldn't it be nice if the government finally gave you back some money for a change? Stick with me until the end of this video, because I'm about to reveal how this coin became so valuable, how you can spot one, and why selling at the right back in 1981. The U.S. Mint was producing billions of Lincoln pennies. Most were ordinary, marked with either a D for Denver or a S for San Francisco. But a small batch left the presses without a mint mark at all. At first, nobody paid attention. After all, it was just a penny. But over the years, collectors realized that this tiny printing mistake created one of the most valuable modern coins in existence. Here's where the story gets exciting. one lucky collector sold a 1981 no-mint mark penny in pristine condition for over $6 million. That's right. Something you could find in your pocket change once upon a time now carries the price tag of a luxury mansion. But here's the conflict. Most people don't even know these coins exist. They spend them without thinking, they toss them in jars, and they let them slip away. That fear of, what if I had it and didn't know, is real, and it's why collectors are scrambling today, paying millions to secure this rare piece of American history. Now, pause for a second. If I told you that the coin sitting in your drawer could be your ticket to an early retirement, would you check it tonight? First, look at the year, 1981. Then, check just below the date. If there's no tiny mint letter, no D, no S, then you could be staring at one of the rarest pennies in U.S. history, and condition matters. A coin in flawless, uncirculated shape is where the multi-million-dollar magic happens. That's how one recently hit the staggering $6.4 million mark. Now here's the cliffhanger I promised. Experts believe that as more collectors enter the market, the value of this coin could rise even higher. Imagine if the same penny that once bought a stick of gum could soon be worth $7 million. Maybe even more. So, here's your choice. Will you let those pennies gather dust? Or will you take action, check your collection, and possibly uncover the key to living the wealthy, stress-free lifestyle you've always dreamed of? Reset with humor. After all, wouldn't it be ironic if the coin you've been ignoring was more valuable than your entire 401k? Don't wait. Every day someone else is cashing in. Yours could be next. If you found this video inspiring, make sure you subscribe, share this with your family, and start checking your coins today. Remember, wealth isn't always earned, it's sometimes discovered. Imagine this. You're digging through an old coffee can of pennies sitting in the back of your drawer, and there it is, an ordinary-looking 1972 Lincoln penny. Brown, worn, nothing special. Or so you think. But here's the twist. That same penny could be worth up to $6.2 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single cent, the kind you might overlook at the gas station counter, could fund your retirement, buy you a luxury home, or even allow you to live the life of wealth and freedom most people only dream of. Now, before you shrug this off and say, asterisk, come on, a penny worth millions? That's crazy. Asterisk, let me ask you, how many pennies have passed through your hands in a lifetime? Hundreds of thousands? Maybe millions. And what if just one of those could change your financial destiny forever? Stick with me, because I'm going to reveal the secrets behind the 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, why collectors are paying millions, how to spot one, and what you should do if you're lucky enough to find one in your pocket change. And just to keep things fun, somewhere in this video I'll tell you the single biggest mistake people make that could cost them their fortune. You don't want to miss that. Let's rewind back to 1972. Richard Nixon was president, gas was 55 cents a gallon, and the U.S. Mint was striking billions of pennies. On the surface, it looked like business as usual. But here's where fate, error, and history combined to create a goldmine for collectors. The 1972 Lincoln penny was struck in Philadelphia with no mint mark. Most of them? Worth just face value. But a handful, just a handful, were struck with a dramatic double-die error. Now, what does that mean? It means the coin's design was accidentally struck twice, slightly offset, creating a bold, doubled image. You can see it most clearly in the word, Liberty, and the date asterisk. 1972. Asterisk. This wasn't just a tiny mistake. It was visible to the naked eye. And collectors? They went absolutely wild. Here's the catch. Millions of people tossed these coins back into circulation, completely unaware they had a piece of history worth millions. Think about it. How many times have you thrown away change, thinking it was worthless? And this is where fear comes in. The fear of missing out. Because if you don't check your coins carefully, you could be sitting on a fortune and never even know it. And let's be honest, how many of us have actually stared at a penny longer than 2 seconds? I mean, unless you're checking if Abe Lincoln is winking at you, right? But in this case, that quick glance could literally be the difference between pocket change and millionaire status. Over the years, these rare 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies have climbed higher and higher in value. Some sold for tens of thousands. Others crossed into the millions. And today? The most pristine examples have shattered records, with current valuations soaring up to $6.2 million. Let that sink in. 1 cent, $6.2 million. That's not just life-changing money, that's generational wealth. Collectors and wealthy investors are hunting these coins like treasure. Why? Because there are so few left in mint condition, and as time goes on, they only become rarer. But here's the shocking part. Most people don't even know how to spot one dot, and if you can't recognize the signs, you might hold one in your hand and let it slip away forever. So let's dive into exactly how you can tell if you've got the real deal. First, look at the word Liberty on the left side of the coin. If the letters look doubled, bold, or almost as if your vision is blurry, that's the double die effect. Second, check the date, 1972. You'll see the numbers appear doubled, thick, and sharp. Finally, examine the motto "In God We Trust." The doubling there is dramatic, and if you see it, your heart will skip a beat. Now, here's the mistake I promised to reveal earlier. Too many people clean their coins, thinking it will make them look nicer. Huge mistake. Cleaning actually destroys value. A coin worth millions can plummet to a few $100 just because someone scrubbed it with baking soda. So, if you suspect you have one of these pennies, do not clean it. Store it carefully, and get it evaluated by a professional grading service. What would you do if tomorrow you discovered a penny in your old coin jar, and it turned out to be worth $6.2 million? Would you keep it, sell it, invest it, or maybe finally buy that dream home? The truth is, opportunities like this are rare, but they do exist. Every day, someone finds a coin that changes their life forever. So don't ignore the pennies in your pocket. They could be your ticket to financial freedom, your chance to rewrite your future, and your opportunity to live the wealthy lifestyle you've always wanted. Because remember, sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest value. Imagine walking into your attic, opening an old jar of pennies, and finding a single coin, a 1970 Lincoln cent with no mint mark. At first glance, it looks ordinary. But what if I told you that one of these tiny copper coins recently sold for a jaw-dropping $6.3 million? Yes, $6.3 million. More than most homes in America. Suddenly, that humble penny in your pocket doesn't feel so humble anymore, does it? Now, before you start rating your couch cushions, let's dive into why this specific penny is so rare, how to identify it, and why collectors are willing to pay a fortune. And stick with me, because toward the end, I'll reveal the secret detail that separates a penny worth 1 cent from one that could make you a millionaire overnight. Back in 1970, the U.S. Mint struck millions of Lincoln cents. Most carried the S mint mark for San Francisco or a D for Denver. But a handful slipped through without any mint mark at all. This era transformed an everyday coin into one of the most legendary finds in American numismatic history. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Many people think these rare coins are long gone, snapped up by collectors decades ago. But that's not true. They're still out there. Tucked away in coffee cans, dresser drawers, and inherited coin jars waiting to be discovered. Think about that for a moment. How many times have you tossed a penny aside, saying, "It's just a penny"? Well, imagine realizing you just threw away $6.3 million. That's the kind of mistake that keeps collectors awake at night. Honestly, it's the only time losing a penny could actually ruin your life. I mean, can you picture explaining that to your spouse? Asterisk. Honey, I had $6.3 million in my hand, but I used it to pay the parking meter. Asterisk. So what does this all mean for you? If you're between 40 and 65, chances are you've handled thousands of pennies in your lifetime. Some of you even saved jars of them, not realizing you might be sitting on a fortune. And here's the truth. Wealthy lifestyles aren't always built by working harder. They're often built by spotting hidden opportunities. This penny is one of those opportunities. Now here comes the real cliffhanger. Not all 1970 no mint mark pennies are created equal. Some are worth only a few $100s, while a select handful break into the millions. The difference lies in one subtle detail, something so small that most people overlook it completely. And in my next video, I'm going to reveal exactly how to spot that $1,000,000 marker, so you'll know if the penny in your pocket is just spare change, or a ticket to a life of financial freedom. So, here's what I want you to do tonight. Check your coin jars, dig into that old family collection, and look closely at every 1970 Lincoln penny. Because the next millionaire story could be yours. If you want to learn the insider details that separate the common coins from the life-changing treasures, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell, and stay tuned. Trust me, you don't want to miss this.